Hi, you've clicked on to today's tropical tidbit for Wednesday. Again, here looking at the Atlantic, noticing this area of suspicious looking weather sitting over here in the central Atlantic. This is a cold core, baroclinically induced surface low out here, but it's an interesting surface low in that it's going to have a chance to acquire some shallow warm core characteristics over the next couple of days or three as it moves west over here. Notice that a lot of thunderstorms getting sheared off right now. Big batch of thunderstorms got shaved off to the northeast of it overnight, but this low is continuing to slowly deepen over here, and it's not that strong yet. If we zoom in on this, notice it's a nice tight little circulation here. Now as it moves off to the west, we've got thunderstorms continuing to try to build on the north side of it here, and despite the fact that whenever they form, you notice they spike off to the east here with the anvil tops getting shaved due to the wind shear. The wind shear is actually 50 to 60 knots right here, which is pretty impressive given that it's still trying to form thunderstorm activity directly over it, and the low is continuing to tighten. We now have weak westerlies to the south of it, which means the low is probably closed, and I'm actually surprised we haven't seen an invest put out for this yet, as it has potential based on the model forecasts. But notice what's going on the water vapor here. As I mentioned yesterday, this trough lifted out. We have a ridge building up now over the eastern seaboard, and notice this upper trough digging in. Classic trough split going on right now with this digging in. The surface flow is somewhere in here, and this is digging in right now. The wind shear across it is still pretty large, but as this moves west-northwest, it's going to move more underneath this upper low here, and that's going to both cool the air aloft, which is going to help induce instability and generate more deep convection, and it's also going to lighten the winds above it, get the vertical wind shear down a little bit, and this could allow it to organize a little bit more thunderstorm activity about the center and try to warm the core, at least at the low levels. It's not going to be able to warm its environment all the way up to the top of the troposphere, but it is going to be able to try to warm the shallow part, and that's how we can get subtropical development, is if we have a warm core structure at least the lower part of the atmosphere. Now the models all do roughly the same thing with this. They develop this, they take it a little bit west-northwest. Once this trough tries to swing back out to the east, this gets caught on the confluent side of the ridge and starts to get steered around it back towards the southwest, at which point it will back southwest and likely weaken, because once it's forced to sustain itself on purely convective processes, it won't be able to do it very well and will start to weaken, and then some take it over here and then some take it up the eastern seaboard, but all dissipating by this time. By far the most aggressive is still the Canadian, which is expected. This is at day 6. It actually brings it southwest, but it continues to strengthen or maintain it and keeps a very solid low here. Definitely a scary looking run, but the Canadian's always scary looking, so you can't really take this too seriously. However, it is always an interesting model to look at, because given that it is a computer model, things that it shows are not always 100% out of the realm of possibility. This likely will not happen, but it is interesting to see that it's winding this up here in April, and we'll have to see how strong this can get, given that we already have a very tight looking system here. If it were to get a shallow warm core, it would be interesting to see how far it could go before it starts getting sheared off. But what's interesting about this, and the reason I showed you, is because you got this ridge here, you got this low coming in from the east, and this is going to drag it up the eastern seaboard and possibly bring us a more significant rain event to the eastern United States, and hopefully including Florida, because I heard they need some rain down there when this goes up the eastern seaboard, possibly bringing some rain, and that could be an issue for people, possibly any kind of flooding if tropical moisture gets involved. So we'll have to see what happens there. And we'll see whether this develops. It's just interesting to see here in April. We've only had one April development in 2003 when Anna developed on the 18th of April, and here we are watching for our first subtropical development. It looks a lot better than a lot of subtropical developments we've seen in the past. You got to admit that right now. So it's interesting to see. We shall see what happens. Alright, that's it for today. Thanks for watching.